Welcome to the Partner Channel podcast, the voice of the channel. I'm Tori Barlow, VP of Marketing at Allbound. I'm excited to be here with Edouard Payennville, Chief Sales Officer at Powell Software. Welcome, Edouard. I'm super excited to talk to you today.
Thanks. Hello, Tori. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, I want to introduce Powell Software in a bit. You guys are one of our happy customers, but a little bit about you first. You've had a long experience at Microsoft in sales, channel sales and marketing for 11 years before you joined Powell Software 2 years ago. So you've got a lot of great interwoven experience. And I guess going into that, could you give the audience a little bit of an overview about Powell?
Absolutely. So Powell Software is a SaaS B2B provider. The HQ is in Europe, but we are a purely global company. We are operating in 4 different regions across the globe. So Western Europe for sure, the DACH and the Nordics as well, which is our second region. But we also have some business in North America, US, and Canada. And we opened a few years ago Asia Pacific as well, with specific people in Australia. So the mission of Powell Software is to enable every sized organization to connect their employees in the hybrid workplace. So that's our mission since day one. The company has been created 7 years ago, and we do have right now a bit less than 100 employees, again, across the globe, 450 customers that are mostly mid-market and enterprise organizations. And one of our specific differentiator is that we are very close from Microsoft. All our software is based on the Microsoft platform, and we've been awarded in 2022 as the Microsoft Partner of the Year for the digital workplace solution. So for sure, not only we've been proud of it, but it's also the demonstration that everything that we do since the last 7 years is working quite well, and we are glad to be that Partner of the Year for Microsoft.
Ooh, snaps for you. Rolling into another award, you guys won the Partner of the Year from our Allbound Awards, and I want to focus a little bit on what we're talking about today because of that, and it's really how to penetrate the international markets through your partner market without dedicated resources. So a little bit about that. When it comes to growing your global footprint outside of France specifically. And I think when we talk about this, a lot of folks who are headquartered in regions outside of America can really benefit from this. But the French partner industry is rapidly developing. But I know, our audience would love to know from your general perspective, how did you do this with your partner network? Because by the way, you guys are 100% partner focused.
Yeah, absolutely. This is part of our DNA since day one. Being a partner-first company was part of the executive decision of our co-founders. So when we created Powell Software 7 years ago, we had 2 core objectives from a corporate standpoint. The first one was to build a 100% recurring model. So everything that is related to IT services, integration, support, and user adoption was not part of the plan, or at least we were really focusing on the creation, the development, and how to build a great software for our customers. So that's one. And 2, the second objective was really to be global. So starting day one, and especially thanks to the support of the Microsoft HQ in Seattle, Washington, we had the opportunity to start penetrating the US market again since day one. By the way, one of our co-founders was based in the US at that period of time. So for sure, it has helped us a lot to create some trust with the ecosystem in the US. Now, when you think about why we've made that choice and how we've been able to penetrate those different markets through partners. So the first one, which is quite general when it comes to building a channel strategy, is really to create synergy effects. So really being aware that we were in a position not only to create a great software, but also to bring added value to the end customer that was combining software plus services. And I think in a SaaS B2B model, that was for sure a critical priority. The second one was to accelerate our time to market. And I think, for a small organization such as, a startup that is being created, when you think about penetrating new market, there is always 2 KPIs that comes first, which is cost of acquisition for new customers plus the sales efficiency. And you need to protect those 2 financial KPIs, not only to penetrate new regions, new market, but to stay and keep the profitability of your company. So that's been, the decision to say, hey, let's leverage an existing partner network. And I think the one of Microsoft for us was a huge help because, we were leveraging the existing partners of Microsoft, especially on the digital workplace topics. And those were our, low-hanging fruits. And we've been, engaging those partners again very early in the company history. Last but not the least, we were absolutely convinced that, to protect our existing customers and, increase the customer experience, working with a channel of partners everywhere around the globe was also a key priority, not only to acquire new customers, but also to secure our existing customers. And for sure, today, with the 450 customers we do have, we are glad to have our 70+ active partners because they are day-to-day working end-to-end with our existing customers, and it's adding a lot of value. Now, just few tips that I can share. There is no secret sauce for sure, but something I think that has been very valuable for us penetrating, especially in North America, was that, first of all, it was an executive decision. It's not something that was coming from, one sales guy or, the chief of sales at that period of time. It was really part of the DNA and the business plan for Powell Software for the coming years. The executives of Powell Software were also aware of the potential drawbacks of, a channel strategy, because there are some drawbacks. If you think about, the less control you might have on your customers or the reduced revenue you might generate because you give back some margin to your partners. So, there is a revenue difference as well. But at the end of the day, we've built, I think, and that is for me the biggest differentiator, we've built a product that was partner first. So it's not about, hey, let's engage some partners and we'll give them some margin, back or front margin. It was that our product was built in for partners. So there is tons of product capability that are really specific for partners. That's one. The second one is the profitability. So we were convinced that not only the partners will like the margin, but also that they will be able to generate additional revenue stream on top of the Powell Software product. So as of today, we have a pretty good ratio that is for $1 of Powell Software license that they sell, they might, and this is the average that we see globally, they might generate up to $3.5 on top with their services, consulting, integration, support, and user adoption. So I think that was for us, again, part of the DNA, but also we think about the partner strategy along the, let's say, life of Powell Software so far.
So this is not just you're a resource and you're owning the partner program. This is a company-wide organizational decision, which is probably a big catalyst as to why you guys have been so successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I like to recap when I have those type of conversation with the ecosystem that, being a partner first is not a sales topic. It's an R&D topic because the engineers, the developers need to think partner first. It's a marketing topic and go-to-market topic as well, because, you need to create the content and the marketing and global campaigns for your partner community. And for sure, it's a sales conversation as well, but it's a mix. And I think the balance between those three pillars is well balanced.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. And then talking a little bit about, you said you had, 70+ partners. I bet a lot of people listening might not have a good amount of resources on their team to grow quickly and enable partners. You did something really interesting where you enabled your partners to be your resources for you. What does that mean and how did you do it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think that's a decision we've made, again, quite early a few years ago. That was, go at scale through partners. Was really, the objective number one. Was not it was not, to, let's say, to take, every partner opportunity by opportunity, but really go at scale with a long-term plan. And I think some of the decisions we've made, so first of all, the first resources we did hire, especially in Europe, were channel salespeople before AEs. So they all had, channel experience before. So that was one decision, I think, that was quite important. The second one is that, again, we think big. So very early, we've built a partner program. Even if at that period of time, we had just a couple of partners, especially in North America, but we've built a partner program that was think for the long term. A partner program that is today running on the Allbound platform that is combining, different resources. Think about, the content, the products, the pricing, also online certification, and everything was built, to give autonomy and independency to our partner ecosystem. That was the only way to scale, especially when you have limited resources, especially in different countries outside of Europe. So I think that was a very strong decision. Now, for sure, even if with no limited resources in the country, we did have, and we still have for sure, very strong people in the HQ in France supporting our global partner, and they are running like one-to-one or one-to-many partner sessions, so sales technical training, partner days. They do run webinars, newsletters. So it's all about community management and secure your partners to become from being a fan of your product to an evangelist of your products. And running that partner program, I think, has been for sure a key success factor for Powell Software.
Yeah, it's about the true partnership, and to your point earlier, not just sending over a contract, creating some sort of window for a commission fee. Like, how do you actually go to market together? What is your value together, and how are you better together? And it sounds like that stems from the overall company at Powell. And your revenue is 100% partner sourced. You talked a little bit about this in the beginning, but how do folks do this as a startup and as a kicker, not being headquartered in the US where 50% of your revenue comes from? Like, this has to be challenging. How do you overcome that?
So I think that there are different topics on that one. So the first of all is trust. When you think about channel and partnership, it's at the end of the day, it's people to people conversation, and even before the product, it's about the trust. So again, having one of our co-founder at that period of time based in the US was for sure for the partner ecosystem, a proof that we were serious enough. So that was number one. I think the second one was for our partners, again, the transparency and the honesty to admit that Powell Software expertise was the product, the market we were operating in, and was not the country, or the vertical in the US, for instance, or the audience in the US, or so I think being partnering with local partners was also the fact that we were admitting that we had to combine our forces. Our job was to build a great product and land it to markets, and the partner were there to support and drive the go-to-market from the marketing to the sales. So, I think this honesty and trust was existing since day one. That was one. And the second one that is, I think, working quite well is also when you think about the sales cycle with our prospects. During the first conversation we had with any prospects, we announced to them that we are partner first, and that at some point they might be in touch, or they will be in touch with one of our partners. This is really, again, it's about trust and transparency. The worst situation is that when you wait, your opportunity to be in a proof of concept or being, in the negotiation, and you say, oh, by the way, we are going to bring one of our partners in the deal. Like, the prospect would be very upset and is not going to understand why. But if early stage in the sales cycle, you explain why, the value of that ecosystem, I mean, it's a win-win for the customer, for the partner, and for Powell Software. And with that approach, for sure, it's not enough, but with that type of approach and fundamentals, it's a very good starting point, I would say.
Let's shift a little bit to the partner type mindset. And this goes a lot into quality over quantity, especially in this day and age with the economy and goals within bottom line revenue for indirect. So what type of partners are you working with specifically in the US? And did you have a different strategy with choosing partner type based on region? How did that work?
Yeah, so we do have three types of partners at Powell Software, but really especially in the US, again, for the reasons that we know. So we are 100% partner driven in the US. So the first one is really what we call the referral partners. So think about all the business consulting firms, all the consulting companies that are very early in the sales cycle, talking mostly to CXO. For our market, it's all about communication director, HR, and CIO, CTO to talk about the future of their digital workplace in the hybrid world. So we talk a lot with referral partners. First of all, to understand the US market, because they do have tons of insights that we need to collect, but also they are talking to hundreds of potential customers. So we are partnering with those type of partners. That's one. The second one, which is the biggest category actually for Powell Software, is system integrators. So local system integrators or global system integrators that we work with, and it's really here to implement the proof of concept before the closing of the deal, but also to implement and deploy the solution after the closing, and also manage the run and do the managed services afterwards, because our solution does require, quite a lot of, support and managed services to have the solution working properly. Last but not the least, we are for just few weeks and few months now opening a new market, which is the upper SMB and mid-market accounts. And to drive, penetrate that specific markets, we are working with more distributors and VARs that are more like volume oriented. So that's a new ecosystem that we are driving. And I think we are quite happy to see that all the investment that we've made in the past, especially when you think about our online resources and partner center, is giving them, lots of autonomy again. And those type of volume machine, the big distributors, especially in the US, they do like this type of self-service approach. So those are the three categories that we have. For sure, we are continuously looking for new partners, especially for the new products that we are launching in the markets. So we are not there yet, but the existing partner ecosystem we do have in North America is really, really strong right now.
Yeah, no, I think that's really helpful. And it's so dependent on the type of goals you have as a partner organization, the types of partners you want to focus on, and not biting off more than you can chew, because it really is that quality over quantity right now. And then as a bonus question, for those based in France, what are some important things to remember when getting your program off the ground, specifically in France? And I know I've had conversations with folks like Alexandre Leboeuf, who leads up Sodexo's partner program and is so well versed in the French market for partner appetite. And what are some things we need to remember when launching it, getting buy-in? Are there certain tactics there to think about?
No, again, so as a recap, I think, the first one is really to have that as a strategic decision of the company. So starting day one to think about it and think big. I think, step by step might be a good approach, but at the end of the day, you need to anticipate. And when you build a partner program, you need to think about, a 3-4 years time frame. So you need to anticipate those type of investments. That's one. The second one I would say is really to build the trust. Be honest, be transparent, especially when you are operating globally. And if you are a French company, I would say that, for North America, it's absolutely critical that you have that type of conversation very early with your ecosystem. And we say that also being honest means listen to the partner and the ecosystem feedbacks. Especially something that we do, not only we are running customer user club, but we are also running partner user club. And we always listen to our partner feedback, because they do have tons of feedback about, the market, the competition, the pricing, the product, the features, and, running this type of conversation, not only with myself as the chief sales officer, but also with our chief product officer, our CTO, to listen to the ecosystem is absolutely critical when you are a French-based company and where you are operating globally. I mean, North America is such a different market in terms of culture, size, velocity, for sure. So you need to be prepared, and you need to collect those type of feedback on a regular basis, because if you do not do so, very, very, very fast you'll be lost, and you lost that trust that you've built with your ecosystem. So those will be the piece of advice I will give to the ecosystem.
Think big. It's so important this year. Thank you to our guest, Edouard, Chief Sales Officer, Powell Software. And thank you to you, the listeners, for joining us here at the Partner Channel podcast. If you like what you heard, subscribe to our podcast episodes wherever you like to listen to podcasts.